This is a GWM Haval H6 plug-in hybrid, and there are two reasons why this could be one of the company's most important new models that's ever launched in Australia. Number one, it brings plug-in hybrid power to one of the company's most popular models. This is going to be pretty important in the coming years as buyers move towards electric power and move towards cars like this, especially as emissions rules start to bite for car makers in this country. Second, this is one of the first models to be tuned in Australia for local conditions by GWM. In terms of the way it drives and the steering and suspension, a lot of the work's been done here at the former Holden Proving Ground in Victoria, where we're shooting this video today. And it promises to make this car a bit more suited to our conditions and fix some of the perhaps average handling of earlier Haval and GWM models across the board. Has it worked? Is this car finally a match for the likes of a Toyota RAV4 or a Hyundai Tucson? In this video, we're going to find out. The GWM Haval H6 plug-in hybrid is priced from $42,990 drive away for the front-wheel drive Lux at the time we're publishing this video, rising to $45,990 drive away for the front-wheel drive Ultra you see here. We spent the most time driving the top of the range all-wheel drive Ultra plug-in hybrid, priced from $48,990 drive away. It's wading into an increasingly competitive field, up against the BYD Sealion 6 from about $45,000 drive away, the MG HS Super Hybrid from $59,990 drive away, and the Geely Starray EMI from about $40,000 drive away. For plenty of new and used vehicles like this for sale, head to Drive Marketplace now. We've got thousands of listings from trusted dealers around the country. Now, powering the plug-in hybrid is a 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine under the bonnet and a choice of one or two electric motors depending on the model you go for. One motor in front-wheel drive or two motors with all-wheel drive. This one here is front-wheel drive, but it's the all-wheel drive models we've been spending the most time here with today. You get a 19 kilowatt hour battery pack for a claim range on fully electric power of just over 100 kilometres for the front-wheel drive, 106 to be precise, or 100 kilometres on the dot with the all-wheel drive model. That's based on lab testing, so again, expect to see a little bit less in the real world. Now, unlike many plug-in hybrids, this one can actually charge both on AC as well as DC. So you can go to a normal fast charger for an EV and plug this in and get a much faster top-up from 30 to 80%. The Haval H6 got a pretty big spruce up earlier this year with its midlife facelift, but this plug-in hybrid takes it another step further. Exclusive to this model are this new steering wheel here with this sort of newer two-spoke design, I suppose, than what you got in the older or the normal hybrid Haval H6, as well as new software for this touchscreen. It's a lot faster, a lot quicker to respond. It's just a more modern system overall. It does look a bit generic, I suppose. It looks like a Deepal or an Xpeng or so many other Chinese cars these days. But it's easy enough to use once you get your head around its menus, though obviously some things can be buried a little bit too far in the screen for our tastes. Your climate controls do run through this display, and you do have some physical buttons as shortcuts for those, but not too many, just defrosters as well as recirculating air and to turn it on and off. Fortunately, you do have climate controls pinned along the bottom of the display here. I can just tap down there. The buttons are quite small, so they are a bit hard to hit on the road. And if you want to do fan speed, that is sort of at least 2 taps away, which is a little bit annoying, but this screen is definitely a step up over what you got in the regular hybrid H6. Now the display itself is actually the same in this plug-in hybrid, 14.6 inches, as well as this driver display ahead of me, which also has new graphics for the plug-in hybrid model. Elsewhere in the car, it is pretty much the same as the normal Haval H6 hybrid. These seats are one of those things that are carryover, same as well as the pre-2025 H6 range, which means you don't get under-thigh support on the driver's side. It's very lacking in that, and you can't sort of beef it up in any way. You do have 6-way adjustments, so forward and backwards, as well as your backrest, as well as obviously up and down there as well. Steering wheel is a nice size. The rim is a bit thicker than it used to be, and it does feel pretty good in the hand there. Nice soft leather there as well. And your gear shifter is on a column stalk rather than the old rotary dial that you used to get. Now there is plenty of storage in this car as well, quite a deep center console bin, not the deepest in the class, but still pretty good and good for storing things out of sight. Single wireless phone charger here, quite easy to reach, but again it will get hit by the sun in the height of summer. 2 cup holders, which are on the small side, some more space here for sort of keys and wallets and things, as well as even more room under this sort of flying bridge center console there. Decent sized glove box as well, plus some sunglasses storage up there overhead, and it is pretty well equipped in terms of what you get for this money. Features in this Ultra grade include a 14.6 inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 10.5 inch instrument display, wireless phone charging, leather look seat trim, a heated leather steering wheel, dual zone climate control, heated and ventilated front seats with power adjustment, and a head-up display. Also worth calling out, the materials are pretty nice in here as well. Softish feeling on the dashboard, sort of leather-like finish there. It's not the most richly appointed, I suppose, but it does feel pretty premium and it doesn't feel like you're being shortchanged for the asking price of this car. Space in the back here is actually pretty generous. You can see I've got about a fistful of knee room there for the front seat. I'm 186 centimeters tall, or 6'1", and that seat is set up for where I drive. Toe room is also pretty decent under the front seat, as is headroom. I've got enough room here to be comfortable. This seat base, however, is not so nice. It's quite flat, so there's not a lot of support in corners, and unless I stretch all the way forward with this seat quite far forward, under thigh support isn't fantastic back here, so definitely can be worked on for a future version of this car. The floor is pretty close to flat and the cabin is quite wide, so you can fit 3 people across, but yeah, the seat base isn't the most comfortable in this category. In terms of amenities back here, you've got a fold down center armrest with a pair of cup holders. It does go, yeah, good height there for that. You've got a pair of air vents there, as well as 2 USB ports, one USB-C and one USB-A. Interestingly, that's the only USB-C port in the entire car. The ones up front are both USB-A. The materials back here aren't quite as nice as the front, sort of scratchy on the doors, no sort of trick window blinds or anything to speak of there. And your door pocket is on the smaller side, but does the job pretty well, and it is a pretty spacious car here, especially for the price. The boot of the PHEV is also pretty similar to the regular hybrid model. Pretty big space in terms of its size, quite deep, quite wide, quite a nice shape to work with in terms of loading items. Not too much of a low lip to get in, though there is not really any underfloor storage to speak of there. That's all subwoofer, as well as your tyre repair kit and things like that. No spare wheel, as is very common with a lot of hybrid cars in Australia. Got a parcel shelf here that retracts nicely there. You can fold those rear seats 60/40 as well. You've got some things like some storage space on the side, 12-volt socket on the left, as well as lights, and a few other little things to play with there as well. And of course, a power tailgate in this top of the range Ultra Spec. Powering the all-wheel drive Haval H6 plug-in hybrid is a 110 kilowatt, 1.5 litre turbo 4-cylinder petrol engine, mated with 2 electric motors, 80 kilowatt front and 150 kilowatt rear, for combined outputs of 268 kilowatts and 760 newton meters. Front-wheel drive models have a little bit less power, at 240 kilowatts, but still more than most of this car's rivals. GWM claimed fuel consumption for the all-wheel drive of 1.1 litres per 100 kilometres with a charged battery, relying heavily on that electrical energy to push the car along rather than burning fuel, or 5.3 litres per 100 with a depleted battery. We returned 4.6 litres per 100 on the drive loop you're about to see. The Haval H6 plug-in hybrid is one of the first cars from GWM to be tuned for Australian conditions. That project has been led by Rob Tribbiani, a former top Holden engineer, responsible for the way that Commodores drove over the last 15 years or so of the Holden brand's existence. That means updated suspension, as well as recalibrated steering for this car that promised to make it a more confidence-inspiring car to drive on bumpy Aussie country roads. It is worth noting though that this updated suspension tune and steering tune are only available on models built from November 2025 onwards, so the first batch of plug-in hybrids, as well as other recent Haval H6s, won't have the updated hardware. Alright, behind the wheel now of the GWM Haval H6 plug-in hybrid. Now, before we get onto the ride and handling stuff, because that is pretty important with this car, let's have a quick chat about the powertrain. So, obviously dual motor all-wheel drive in this one, in terms of your plug-in hybrid system. It does work pretty well. You can obviously hear the engine when it does turn on. For the most part, it is pretty smooth and pretty seamless in the way it operates. When you put your foot down for a bit of punch, it takes a second, but it does respond and then give you sort of that surge of acceleration that you are looking for. Again, pretty punchy, pretty quick, a little bit of lag at times, but for the most part, it is a pretty good powertrain. Now, what about the local tune that has been done to this car? Now, got new dampers in the suspension, as well as a different tune for the steering, and overall, it's just a more harmonious experience. The steering is more immediate, there's a much sharper turn in. When you turn to a corner and put a bit of lock on, the car responds rather than there being, say, a dead zone that you then have to work around and sort of drive with. And the suspension is definitely better over undulations. When you hit a crest on a country road, it doesn't sort of wallow and wobble about. He just deals with it and responds and settles really quickly. And overall, it's just a car you can have a lot more confidence in when you're driving on a country road. You don't feel a step behind what the car is doing. It feels like when you turn, it turns. When you hit a bump, yes, you feel it, and there is still some firmness in the underlying ride of this car, particularly over sort of sharp bumps. There is more of a reaction than you might otherwise like. As the other parts of the experience this local tune hasn't touched, There is still some road noise at higher speeds on country roads in particular. It's not too bad, and you can drown it out to an extent with the speakers, I suppose, with sound system of this car in this top of the range ultra model we're driving here. In terms of things like the way it deals with seat comfort and stuff like that, these seats, I don't love them too much. I would like some more under thigh support, but they're not the absolute worst in the world. It's safe to say this is still not the most dynamic car in the class. These Cooper tyres on this plug-in hybrid model have okay grip, but not exceptional grip. They're not the most sort of sure-footed in that environment, but again, this is not meant to be a sports car. Perhaps there's a little bit less body roll with this updated model with the new suspension tune, but it's a pretty mild difference. And the brake pedal does feel okay in this plug-in hybrid. Pretty linear, pretty soft as well, which is nice and approachable for around town driving. But overall, it is a much better car to drive now with this new suspension tune. More confidence-inspiring, and that therefore more relaxing to drive. You don't have to really feel like you're working with the car or that you're sort of labouring yourself to drive it on a nice country road. Overall, this is actually a pretty pleasant car to drive now. It makes it much easier to recommend. So there you have it. That's our first look and our first drive of the Haval H6 plug-in hybrid. It does all the things that Chinese cars have historically done well at. Plenty of space inside, plenty of technology, plenty of features, and it's really well priced as well. But for the first time, this actually drives pretty well too. That plug-in hybrid system is not perfect, but it is pretty good for what you get, and the ride and handling are much improved over the normal Haval H6. Much more comfortable, much more controlled in the way it handles a normal Aussie country road, and the steering's a bit better as well. It just feels like a more confidence-inspiring car to drive. One of our main gripes with a normal H6 hybrid. Things still can be done better. We'd love some more physical controls inside the cabin. Love under thigh support on those front seats as well to boost comfort on longer journeys. And again, there are a few rough edges with that plug-in hybrid system. But on the whole, if you're in the market for a plug-in hybrid family SUV, definitely worth test driving this one. And as a step up for the GWM brand as a whole, this is a really important car. If you enjoyed this video, why not give us a like, and watch us compare some other mid-size hybrid SUVs without a plug. Perhaps a plug-in hybrid isn't for you. Click up there to watch our recent comparison video.